श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की। गंगा माई की, जमुना माई की, भक्ति देवी की, कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदायिनी तुलसी महारानी की, कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेशनल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees. 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 All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur-unmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. So we continue with our discussion on the 6 Goswamis. And today evening we will discuss about Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami and then Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Shri Gopal Bhatta Eka Shakha Sarvottama Rupa Sanatana Sange Yar Prema Alapana. Adilila chapter 10 describes about Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Assisting Srila Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami was also one of the branches of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's tree, and he is described in Adi Lila as the 47th branch. Born in 1503, and he was born in a place known as Belagudi in Kaveri. And amongst all the Goswamis, the total amount of subject matter described about Gopal Bhatta Goswami is the least available. Amongst all the Goswamis, least information is available about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And what is the reason? The reason is when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was embarking on writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He went from Vaishnav to Vaishnav in Vrindavan, seeking their blessings to write. Chota bada bhaktagan vando sabar Sri Charan sabe more karah santosh Swarupa Gosai Ramata Rupa Raghunath Janayata Tai Likhi Nahi Moradosh. Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that Srila Kaviraj Goswami was seeking the blessings of all categories of devotees, big and small. Chota Bada Bhaktagan. And he was requesting all of them to be pleased with him. And as he approached the different Vaishnavas, he was specifically given order by Haridas Pandit, the head priest of Govinda Mandir. Paya jara agya dhan brajera Vaishnavagan Tara madhya mukhya Haridas Chaitanya bilasa sindhu Kollolera eka bindu Taha kana kohe Krishna das. So Kaviraj Goswami is saying, the instruction and the order of the Vaishnavas in Vrindavan was my real wealth. Paya jara agya dhan. The real wealth of the devotees is the Vaishnav agya, the instruction. But because we are often not in the right mood, we don't see the agya as the dhan, we see the agya as the gun. And we are wondering why this instruction is given to me. So as Kaviraj Goswami was seeking the blessings of all the devotees, one particular Vaishnava agreed to speak about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes and share the histories on one condition, that my name will not be mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. On that condition, I will share all the data. And that was Gopal Bhatta Goswami. But because he held such an important element of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes in South India, which only he was witness to, so Kaviraj Goswami had to sign the NDA. He just could not, not accept. But as a result, very less is known about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So, it is described that when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in South India, and this was in 1511, the Chaturmas. So that Chaturmas period, that 4 months period he spent with a great Vaishnava who was the father of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, whose name is Venkata Bhatta. Venkata Bhatta, Tirumala Bhatta and Prabodhananda, the 3 brothers. And Gopal Bhatta is the son of Venkata Bhatta. So therefore, it is described that not only Kaviraj Goswami, but Vrindavan Das Thakur, Lochan Das Thakur, Kavi Karnapur, Manohar Das, Yadunandan Das, practically most of the Vaishnavas who have written about Lord Chaitanya have hardly mentioned about Gopal Bhatta. So he studied Nyaya Shastra, and even before this Chaturmas period, he had visited Jagannath Puri with his father Venkata Bhatta, and when he saw the deities of Lord Jagannath, he became overwhelmed with ecstasy. Kaverite snana kori dekhi Ranganath, stuti pranati kori manila kratartha. So Lord Chaitanya, when he saw the beautiful deities of Ranganath, he became filled with ecstasy and joy. Prema veshe koila बहुत गान नरतन देखी चमत्कार होइला सब लोके रमन. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after witnessing the beautiful darshan of Ranganath, he chanted and danced in ecstasy, and people, when they saw that, they were stunned. Sri Vaishnava Eka Venkata Bhatta Nama Prabhure Mantrana Koila Kariya Sammana. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was invited by Venkata Bhatt to visit his house and stay at his house for the 4 months of the Chaturmasa period. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first came in front of Gopal Bhatta, who was just a small child at that time, hardly 9 years old, he fell at Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet, and Lord Chaitanya placed his feet on the head of Gopal Bhatta, took him on his lap, and it is described that Venkata Bhatta performed the magnificent hospitality and welcome to Lord Chaitanya. Nija ghare laya koila pad prakshalan, sejal laya koila savam shre bhakshan. And after doing Pada Prakshalan, the Pada Prakshalit Jal was sprinkled upon all the family members. And then Venkata Bhatta requests Lord Chaitanya, Chaturmasya kripa kori raha mora ghore, Krishna katha kohi kripaya uddhara amare. My dear Lord, please stay here during the 4 months of Chaturmas and discuss Harikatha with us. Deliver us by discussing this Harikatha. Tar ghare rahila Prabhu, Krishna katha rase, Bhatta sange ganaila sukhe chare maase. And for those 4 months, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was experiencing the greatest of ecstasy, discussing Krishna Katha and Harikatha with Venkata Bhatta in association of his son Raghunath, Gopal Bhatta. Kaverite snana kori Shri Ranga darshan, Pratidina preme veshe korina nartan. It was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's daily ritual in Srirangam during those 4 months of Chaturmas to go and take bath in Kaveri and then take darshan of Ranganath Swami. And right in front of Ranganath Swami, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would chant and dance in ecstasy. And all the devotees surrounding him would be completely stunned. Saundaryadi prema veshe dekhi sarvalok, dekhi bare aise dekhe khande dukha shok. And by seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's beauty, the people would be stunned in ecstasy. Saundaryadi dekhe, just by seeing that Saundarya of Lord Chaitanya, and Prema Vesha, and seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu absorbed in the ecstasy of Prema. Saundaryadi Prema Vesha dekhe sarvalok. When they would see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in with that Saundarya and Prem Avesh, what would happen? Dekhi bare aise dekhe khande dukha shok. All of their dukkha and shoka, the distress and lamentation, would be finished. Because hunger is overcome by eating food, thirst is overcome by drinking water. Dukkha and shoka is overcome by coming in contact with someone whose heart is filled with ecstasy and joy. Only joy can counteract distress, just like only nectar can counteract poison. And food can counteract hunger, and water can counteract thirst. And this joy is not the artificial temporary joy of the senses, but this is the joy of the heart, the joy of the spirit which overflows. चौदिके ते सब लोक बोले हरि हरि, प्रेमावेश मध्ये नृत्य कोरे गौर हरि. And that's what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to demonstrate, that this 16-letter Maha Mantra is so powerful that it can send through currents and torrents of deepest ecstasy. Understand the potential, the power of the holy name. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to demonstrate that. That is the power of chanting the holy names. There is one devotee in ISKCON. He had a wife, and his wife was a great follower of some scholar, and the scholar's name was Krishnamurti. And the wife liked the scholar so much that this is, somewhere in Europe, she kept her dog's name Krishnamurti. And in short, she would call out Krishna. The dog's nickname was Krishna. One day the dog disappeared. She could not find the dog. She told the husband, go and find where he has disappeared. So the husband went out in the streets and he was crying out loudly, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And at that time, one Harinam Sankirtan of ISKCON was going by. And one devotee was distributing books in that street, in that dark alley, and suddenly he saw the strangest sight. One man alone is shouting at the top of his lungs, Krishna, Krishna. He thought, oh my God, what a great devotee. He said, you are looking for Krishna? He said, yes, come with me. And he took him to the temple. And then they realized that he was referring to God and he was referring to dog. And then finally he realized, okay, whatever it is, I have come to some devotees and let me understand what exactly is this Krishna. And then he connected with the devotee, started studying the Gita and became a wonderful devotee, practicing Krishna consciousness. So the holy name is so powerful, it can impact anybody at any time. That's the power of the holy name. Nirvikar Haridasa Gambhir Ashay Bolite Lagila Tare Hoya Sade. Thakur Haridas was Nirvikar. Nobody could shake him. Why? His ashay, his conviction was deep. His intention was aligned with his prayer. Distraction in japa is caused because our intention is not aligned with our prayer. Our prayer is, please engage me in your service, my dear Lord. But the intention is not that. And the proof is when the service actually comes, we tell the Lord, please engage him in your service. Don't engage me now. So therefore, ashay, intention, very important. And therefore we worship Tulsi Devi. Why? Because she has a track record of pleasing Krishna 100% of the time in the best possible way. And if your aspiration is to serve, you have to get energy and power from those who have served and pleased Krishna. And that's why every single morning we come in front of Tulsi Maharani and acknowledge, my dear Tulsi Devi, I do not have genuine desire to serve and please Krishna. I need help from you. My lethargy, my laziness does not make me engage in Krishna's service spontaneously. But you have served Krishna since time immemorial. You have proved yourself to be impeccable in your service. Give me few drops of your energy, your mercy, your grace. And that's how we pray to Tulasi Maharani. Vrindavane kalpadrume suvarna sadan taha ratna singha ratna simhasan. And Krishna sits in Yogapit in what is known as Vrindavan. Vrindavan means the forest of Vrindadevi, because she exemplifies the perfection of serving Krishna. When my father met Radhanath Swami Maharaj for the first time, Radhanath Maharaj asked him, "So where were you working before?" And then my father said, "Maharaj, for 40 years I served the steel plant." And Maharaj said, "Now you serve the Tulsi plant." And Tulasi Maharani represents the mood of seva. By engaging in the service of the Lord. And that is the idea of sankirtan yajna. Yajna means we sacrifice millions of other desires right now which may be going through our mind. Let me get this, let me get that, save me from this adversity, help me here, help me there. Each and every soul has a million unique desires. But when we all come together and start chanting the holy names, we are sacrificing all those desires and focusing on one desire. This devotee may be going through prosperity, this devotee may be going through adversity, this devotee may be going through a mixture of prosperity and adversity, but we all together agree that we will sacrifice all those thoughts at this moment. And we will all pray, "Please engage me in your service." That's why it is called sankirtan yajna. Sankirtan means it's the common desire at that moment. We suspend all other thoughts. We suspend the flow of other desires. We sacrifice all other things and say, together we are agreeing to be engaged in your service. Kochaham kitava papa brahmagnam nirapatrapa kocha narayanatyeti bhagavan nama mangalam. My dear Lord, your holy name is so powerful. The holy name agrees to sit on the tongue of someone who is the most abominable and sinful. The holy name is all purifying. In one of the temples in the west coast, one Indian gentleman called the devotees and said, "I want to do a yajna at my house." The devotees said, "We don't recommend full-fledged yajna, better you do Harinam yajna. Sankirtan yajna, it's easier." He said, no, what is this Sankirtan yajna? Yajna means fire must be there. And this devotee said, "Baba, Lord Chaitanya has made it simple. Sankirtan yajna is easy." He says, no, I want the fire yajna. So he made the devotees come and do the fire yajna. And even in the fire yajna, he was telling, more. They poured more ghee and the fire went up and the fire alarm went all over the house. The fire alarm went and the sprinkler started working and the whole house became filled with water. This guy started complaining to devotee, "What is this? You made my whole house wet with water." And all devotees showed Bhagavad Gita, said, Krishna says when there is yajna, rainfall comes. He said, "Wow, it's right, yeah." And then they said, "We told you, better yajna is Sankirtan yajna." Sankirtana yajna tare kore aradhan saito sumedha ara kolihatajan. One who is intelligent follows Sankirtan yajna. ऐछे प्रेम ऐछे नृत्य ऐछे हरिध्वनि कहा नहीं देखी ऐछे कहा नहीं सुनी. Pratapadra Maharaj says, this kind of sankirtan I have not seen anywhere, any place. What is this? Bhattacharya kohe e madhur vachan Chaitanya srishti e prema sankirtan. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, my dear Pratapadra, what you see is something which has been orchestrated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is Prema Sankirtan. In every yuga, the Lord comes as Yuga Avatar and He gives Tarak Brahmanam. He gives Mukti, liberation. But only once in a day of Brahma, Lord Himself comes and gives Prema. So the Tarak Brahmanam is like very complex mantras. Hare Murare Madhukaitavare Gopal Govinda Mukunda Shore Yaggesh Narayana Krishna Vishnu Nirashre Mam Jagadisha Raksha. Imagine chanting 16 rounds of this. You'll get confused. Hare Murare Murare Hare Mure. So therefore Lord says, okay, keep it simple. Hare Krishna. That also people get confused sometimes. So none of these previous Yuga avatars appear to give prema. Lord Chaitanya has come to give prema. And therefore, right in front of Raghunath Swami, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would chant and dance every single day. Laksha laksha loka aila nana desh hoite Sabe Krishna nama kohe Prabhu ke dekhite. And by seeing Lord Chaitanya, they would have chant in ecstasy. Krishna nama bina keha nahi kahe ar Sabe Krishna bhakta hoila Loke chamatkar. Apart from chanting of the holy names, no other syllable came from their lips. And they all became devotees of Krishna. In this way, it is described that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed with Venkata Bhatta, and they had the famous conversation where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu jokingly told Venkata Bhatta, you believe in Vaikuntha, you believe in the Aishwarya of Lord Vishnu, but the question is, if Vishnu is the highest, why Lakshmi Devi was aspiring to enter into Rasa Leela and why she was denied entry? And their conversation began. And then, at certain point, Venkata Bhatta said, my dear Lord, I am confused. And Lord Chaitanya says, from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Brajaloker bhabe jai karaye bhajan Sejan paye braje brajendra nandan. Although Aishwarya may be extremely powerful and influential, but Lord Krishna becomes captivated by Madhurya or sweetness. And therefore, the whole mood of a Braja, as Krishna becomes captivated by his devotees' love, Krishna becomes a dancing doll in the hands of his devotees' love. Nayam sukhapo bhagavan dehinam gopika suta jnaninam chatma bhutanam yatha bhaktimatam iha. Krishna is easily captivated by his devotees' love. Nayam Sukhapo Bhagavan. No one can capture Krishna more easily than the Brajavasis' mood and the gopis of Braj. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Hare Lakshmi Ramana Gopika Ramana Harite Nare Narayan. And therefore, Lakshmi becomes captured by Krishna, but the gopis do not become captivated by Narayan. And at certain point, Krishna took the four-handed form of Narayan in front of the gopis as they were running, searching for Krishna. And when they came and saw this Narayan form, they asked Narayan, "Have you seen Krishna?" And Narayan with his four hands pointed in certain direction, but actually he could not maintain it when Radharani came and the hands melted. So this pastime reveals that the gopis and the Radha and Srimati Radharani cannot be attracted by Narayana. Eka Ishvara Bhaktera Dhyana Anurup Ekai Vigrahe Kare Nanakar Rup. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, it is the same Lord. The same Lord manifests in so many different ways in this creation. And different devotees get attracted to different forms of Lord based on their mood. Ekai Ishvara Bhaktera Dhyana Anurup. So Narsingha, Vamana, Lord Rama, Krishna, all these are different forms, and the devotees will get attracted according to their particular bhava. And therefore, ye yathamam prapadyante tams tataiva bhajamyaham. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu convinced Venkata Bhatta. And then Gopal Bhatta was witnessing all these pastimes. And Gopal Bhatta had a deep desire in his heart to witness the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Nimai. Before he took sannyas with his long, beautiful, flowing hair, and he was praying, "Oh Brahmaji, why did you give me birth so far away from Nadia? Why did you deprive me of the beautiful darshan of Nadia Bihari? Why didn't you give me the opportunity to see him dance and chant in the house of Srivas Thakur?" And at this point, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him a divine vision. And Gopal Bhatta saw the pre-sannyas Leela. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed to him that I am non-different from Shyama Sundar Brajendra Nandan. And at that time, Gopal Bhatta cried tears of ecstasy. And he cried tears of love. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Gopal Bhatta, "You will meet two jewel-like devotees, Rupa and Sanatan, in Vrindavan. Till your parents are alive, serve them. They are great Vaishnavas. But do not get married. And after you have served your parents, after they depart, you leave from here and go to assist my two devotees, Rup and Sanatan, in Vrindavan. I have given them my manovritti to publish my teachings. They will be publishing my teachings. And what will be your role? You will expand those teachings by becoming the guru and giving initiations." So out of the 6 Goswamis, only 2 were initiating gurus. Gopal Bhatta Goswami was initiating all people who are on the western side of India. And Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was initiating everybody on the eastern side. That is how they had divided as per the protocol. And Rupa and Sanatan, they were instructed just to spread the mission. And therefore, after they depart, go to Vrindavan and join Rupa and Sanatan, and engage yourself in hearing and chanting the glories of Krishna. And he says, Lord Chaitanya tells to Venkata, but I love your Gopal, he has all my blessings. You give him good education, but do not marry him. So Gopal Bhatta accepted his uncle Prabodhananda as his guru for Sanskrit, poetry, grammar, Vedanta. And the remembrance of Lord Chaitanya was the central driving force for him, and he was able to defeat all the opposing views. So there were the two assets of Gopal Bhatta, Prabodhananda Saraswati's Shastra Shiksha and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Smaran and his example. And then he was expert in Shastra, poetry, dance, music and drama. And in Murari Gupta's Kadacha also this is mentioned. As parents depart, Gopal Bhatta started towards Vrindavan. In his mind he was thinking, if given an opportunity, I would go straight to Puri, where my master is sitting. But what to do? I am bound by my master's instruction. My heart desires to go to Puri, but my body is moving towards Vrindavan because my head is sold at the feet of my master. And he wills that I go towards Braj. Asiya paila rupa sanatana sanga duhi Raghunath sange premir taranga. And when he reaches there, he is in ecstasy meeting both Rup and Sanatan. And he assists them to compile the Bhakti Shastras, and his arrival was a very important incident. Immediately the message was sent to Lord Chaitanya, Gopal Bhatta has arrived amongst us. The entire project of renovating Vrindavan was like a startup. The resources were few and every person mattered. So Gopal Bhatta coming onto the scene was a very, very important addition, because Rup and Sanatan were struggling all alone. And now here was someone who was trained in grammar and rhetoric and nyaya and everything. So in terms of compiling Shastra, there was an impetus. You had an expert like that. And so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was delighted, and he started glorifying Gopal Bhatta's head, heart and qualities. And then he wrote a letter to Rupa and Sanatan and gave an instruction. Take care of Gopal Bhatta as your younger brother. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave three things: his Dora Kopin, his Bahirvas and his Asan. Yes, Gopal Bhatta is here, Rupa and Sanatan write in their letter. All residents of Vrindavan, Loknath, Bhugarbha, Kashishwar, Paramananda, Krishnadas, they are pleased from his presence here. We accept Gopal as our brother. As soon as he arrived in Vrindavan, he has thoroughly adopted the life of a mendicant. And actually, Rupa Goswami gets a dream also, in which Govinda Dev reveals to him, make Gopal Bhatta my priest. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving the asan is very important, because giving the asan indicated that Lord Chaitanya wanted Gopal Bhatta to be initiating guru. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the way he expanded and created Braj was very systematic, very organized. Every person was given specific role, and more importantly, they were disciplined enough to play within those roles. Freedom within boundaries. And unless one follows that, there will only be chaos. So Gopal Bhatta was with full bhava, and he had no control over his emotions when he would be overwhelmed with ecstasy. And as soon as he received this, he offered repeated obeisances to the kopin of the Lord, which indicated, I want you to be in renounced order. Mahaprabhu's kopin received means finished. The end. Sannyas for life. Right? And taking sannyas is not easy, which is basically saying that no more connection with the family life. One of Prabhupada's disciples, Prabhupada wanted to make him president. He didn't want to become president. So he wrote a whole list of reasons why he is not qualified to be president and came to Prabhupada with that list in his pocket. Offered obeisances to Prabhupada and said to Prabhupada, please, any seva? And he thought Prabhupada will tell him, become president. And he had all his answers ready. Any seva, as soon as he said, Prabhupada said, I want you to take sannyas. He thought he didn't hear properly. He says, Srila Prabhupada, what did you say? Prabhupada said, I want you to take sannyas. He says, Prabhupada, I just got married. How can I take sannyas? Prabhupada said, don't worry. Krishna will take care of your family. He says, Prabhupada, my son is only 8 months old. Prabhupada said, Krishna will take care of him. He will take care of him. Don't worry. You take sannyas. Prabhupada, I don't have control over my senses. Prabhupada said, you take sannyas, control will come. He got bewildered. He says, Prabhupada, I am willing to do anything, but I cannot take sannyas. Prabhupada said, become president then. So becoming sannyas is not easy. So Lord Chaitanya sent his kopin, then he sent his sannyas vastra, and then the third thing he sent is important, the asan. The asan indicated Gopal Bhatta should be the guru. So Rupa and Sanatana insisted to Gopal Bhatta, you please sit on the asan. He refused to sit. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his letter instructed Gopal Bhatta to give Diksha to Srinivas Acharya. So Srinivas Acharya is a disciple of Gopal Bhatta. Like that. So he is authorizing and commanding Gopal Bhatta to become initiating guru. And then he said, do not become dependent upon the security or adopt a permanent residence. Please spend most of your time assisting Rupa and Sanatana in compiling transcendental literature and study this literature as well. Okay. So then, at some point, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears in Gopal Bhatta's dream and asks him to go to Himalaya and get shaligrams and worship. And he goes to Gandaki river, and then when he goes to Gandaki, and as he is taking the water in his hand, he goes to Gandaki via Saharanpur in Devabandhan, and he meets one great devotee called Sri Madan Prasad Sharma, who is the landlord of that place. Madhav Prasad Sharma. So Madhav Prasad Sharma becomes very impressed by seeing Gopal Bhatta's renunciation and devotion. He understands Gopal Bhatta is a Mahapurusha. Madhav Prasad takes Gopal Bhatta to his home and introduces his two sons, Damodar and Gopinath. And both of them become the first initiated disciples of Gopal Bhatta. Then from Devabandha he goes to Gandaki, puts his hand to offer salutations to the sun, and the shaligram comes in the hand and he holds them close to his chest, and 11 more shaligrams come to him, and total with 12 shaligrams he returns back. And as he is worshipping these shaligrams, he is thinking, when will the day come when I'll also get to worship deities the way Madan Mohan and Govinda Dev are. So one time a wealthy person came and offered dress and ornaments to all the temples in Vrindavan. And Gopal Bhatta was thinking, if only my shaligram had hands and feet, I could have offered them this dress. It was the day of Narsingha Chaturdashi, and he was thinking, oh, how Narsingadev appeared from the pillar to his devotee Prahlad. If only the Lord would appear like that. And the day after Narsingha Chaturdashi, it is described in 1542, Vaishakh Purnima. Because after Chaturdashi is Purnima. So Narsingha Chaturdashi is Vaishakh Chaturdashi. And the day after that is the Purnima, full moon. On that day in the morning, Gopal Bhatta comes to worship his shaligrams, and he sees one of his shaligrams take the beautiful form of Shri Radha Raman. Shri Radha Raman Dev ki. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also appears from within Radha Raman to show his form. And therefore he assures him, one day I will come to Vrindavan to see how he has completed the work. So it is described, you remember the verse, while Rupa Goswami is returning from Puri, Lord Chaitanya says, you go and I will also come in once. But he never came. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is described, appeared as Radharaman. And therefore, this beautiful deity does not have a Radharani deity, they only keep a mukut on the left side, which represents Srimati Radharani. So as described, Madhav Sharma's two sons, Gopinath Pujari and Damodar Das. So Gopinath Pujari never married. So his younger brother Damodar Das married and had progeny. And then all the descendants of Gopal Bhatta are in that tradition. Gopal Bhatta Goswami is described as Ananga Manjari or Guna Manjari. So Rupa and Sanatan Raghunath Das had no disciples. Lokanath Goswami had only one disciple. Who's that? Shri Narottam Das Thakur. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami initiated in the western region and Raghunath Bhatta on the eastern region. And he passed away in 1586. So 1503 to 1586, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami is credited with writing the Haribhakti Vilas. And there is a big debate whether it was written by Sanatan Goswami or Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So it is described that it was Gopal Bhatta Goswami who gave the initial framework for Haribhakti Vilas. Similarly, even the Sandarbhas, all the main structure was given by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And some people say that Sanatan Goswami was the one who wrote the Haribhakti Vilas, but he had concerned that because I associated closely with Mlechas, if I write such book, people will not accept it, because Haribhakti Vilas is all about purity and rules and regulations and Brahminical order and everything. So he thought, compared to Rupa and Sanatan, Gopal Bhatta is Pakka Brahman. And if his authorship is on this book, it will be more accepted. So like that, various thoughts are there. So therefore, Satkriya Sara Deepika was written by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. 14 sanskaras for Grihasthas. And then he wrote Samsara Deepika Samskara Deepika is etiquette and rules for Vaishnava sannyas. And then Krishna Karanamrita commentary. And like that, all of these were given by Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki. So today if you go to Radha Raman temple, Srila Prabhupada mentions to all the ISKCON devotees as a standing instruction. If you want to learn the rules of deity worship, the Radha Raman temple is a great example to learn from. And even today, if you have entered the kitchen of Gopal Bhatta Goswami's Radha Raman temple, the fire with which they cook is the fire which was brought from Srirangam. Gopal Bhatta Goswami brought with him 500 years ago. And that fire has been burning for 500 years. And with that only they do the cooking. Now we discuss about Raghunath Das Goswami. Jai Shri Radha Nil Madhav Bhagavan ki. So Raghunath Das Goswami had the fortune of being the first of the 6 Goswamis to have darshan of Lord Chaitanya. Why? Because as soon as Mahaprabhu took sannyas and Nityananda Prabhu sent him to Bengal and he came to Shantipur, at that time Raghunath Das was in Adi Saptagram with his father. And when he heard that Lord Chaitanya is coming here, he requested his father, please let me go and have darshan of Lord Chaitanya, and his father allowed him. So just after Lord Chaitanya's sannyas, which is January 14th, 1510, Raghunath Das was amongst the first to take darshan. And when he approaches Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is very much eager to enter into renounced order. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stops him. Rakshake rahata moi ke mone chutiba ke mone prabhur sange nila chale jaba. He is telling, my dear Lord, my father has put so many people to protect me from all sides. When will I break free from all of this and come to your lotus feet in Jagannath Puri? And Lord Chaitanya tells him, Sthire hoiya ghare jao nahao batul krame krame pae lok bhava sindhu kul. Be steady. Go home. Don't be maddened. Krishna consciousness is obtained with consistency and steadiness. It is not with short bursts of enthusiasm that you can attain Krishna. Please go and continue serving the way you are. Na hao batul. Do not become mad. Krame krame pae loka bhava sindhu kul. So therefore steadiness is important. Steadiness. So Srila Prabhupada gave us the formula. What is the formula? Morning program, evening program. And in between, do your duties. One brahmachari in Chowpatty, after staying 3 years in the ashram, he came to me and said, I am leaving the ashram. I said, what happened? Prasad was not good? No, Prasad was good. Devotees were harassing you? No, devotees were very kind to me. Staying facility not good? No, staying facility okay. So I said, is there any feedback for us? We are taking a proper exit interview. You are leaving. Why you are leaving? Tell us how we can improve. He said, only one thing. Can you make Mangal Aarti 10 o'clock in the morning? Our pujari one day, waking up in the morning, we would wake up the deities around 4 o'clock, 4:15. So he would get up at 3 o'clock. So that day, He suddenly woke up in the middle of the night and saw the watch. He thought it is 3 o'clock, but the needle, he thought it is 3 o'clock. It was actually 2 o'clock. 1 hour before he got up. So as per his tradition, he took a bath, this, that, woke up the deity 1 hour before, and instead of blowing conch shell at 4:30, he blew the conch shell at 3:30 and opened the curtain also. And in our temple, brahmacharis were sleeping in the temple hall. In the middle of their sleep, they opened their eyes and thought, we never saw such a spiritual dream before. And then another brahmachari checked the time and he realized it is 1 hour before. He didn't want to give up his sleep. He went to the pujari and said, close it. He closed it and went back to sleep. Every minute counts. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada gave the formula. Steady practice. Antare nishtha kara bahya loka vyavahar. Ochire koribe Krishna tomara uddhar. Lord Chaitanya says to Raghunath Das, Antare nishtha kara. It is the consciousness which matters. Krishna is captured by our consciousness, not by our competence. One person was arguing with me, Prabhu, you Hare Krishnas are always criticizing Duryodhan. He's such a competent person. What a great administrator he was. He deserves a few good words. You're always glorifying only Arjuna, criticizing Duryodhan. You know how the GDP of Hastinapur grew under Duryodhan. You should be, neutral in your analysis. You seem always biased against Duryodhan. I said, okay, will you keep your son's name Duryodhan? He says, no. Okay, what about your grandson's name? He says, no. Why you will not keep? He was competent, no? He thought for some time and he said, there was some gadbad in Duryodhan. What was that gadbad? He lacked the character. So therefore, the whole process of Krishna consciousness means we are trying to transform the consciousness. Antare nishtha kara bahya loka vyavahar ochire koribe Krishna tomara uddhar. Lord Chaitanya tells Raghunath Das, you think about Krishna within. Externally, you continue performing the regular acts. Very soon Krishna will come and deliver you. So Giriraj Maharaj asked Srila Prabhupada, what is the duty of the Guru and what is the duty of the disciple? Prabhupada said, the duty of the Guru is to serve Krishna and the duty of the disciple is to assist the Guru in his service to Krishna. And therefore, Krishna consciousness means to transform the consciousness. And that's what Lord Chaitanya tells Raghunath Das. And it's very easy to say this, but to practice it is very difficult. One big, very wealthy person came to me and said, Gauranga Prabhu, I have so much of money, it is like water in ocean. But ocean water doesn't satisfy and quench the thirst. What to do? But I see that you are chanting Hare Krishna. You have nothing, but still you look satisfied. You seem to have water in a well, sweet, pure, deep. Please give me few drops of your well water. I said, please take, no problem. Few drops of well water and you give few drops of your ocean water. He disappeared for 6 months. He thought, I'm really going to chase him. So Lord Chaitanya is saying, things change with change in consciousness. Antare nishtha kara bahya loka vyavahar Change your consciousness from within. Externally continue. And so Raghunath Das took that instruction and continued taking care of his father's business. And his father Govardhan Mazumdar and his uncle Hiranya Mazumdar had some conflicts with the local zamindar about how much money they should be giving, and there was some accusation that they're embezzling funds and this and that. Raghunath Das settled it. So he was astute in diplomatic business dealings. So one should not think he took renounced order because he was incompetent, because he was not worldly wise. No, he was perfect in all of that. Indra sama aishwarya stri apsara sama esab bandhite narile kayara mana. His father tells his mother, he has Aishwarya like Indra, he has a wife who is beautiful like Apsara, still we are not able to tie him up. What we are going to tie him up with ropes? And then he says, Chaitanya Chandrera Kripa Hoyache Ihare Chaitanya Chandrera Batul Ke Rakhite Pare. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has maddened this fellow. Lord Chaitanya's mercy has drowned him. Chaitanya Chandrera Batul, one who has become mad with Lord Chaitanya, who can stop him? And at that time, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu leaves. Raghunath Das hears that Nityananda Prabhu has come. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further says that what is the right time for you to come to me? Vrindavana dekhi jabe asibha nila chale tobe tumi ama pasha asiha ko na chale. When I go to Vrindavan and return back to Puri, that time you come to me, Raghunath. So Raghunath is thinking, what will that time be? Nothing changes. I don't see how things will change. Everything looks the same. How will things change? Yes, things will change. Because the Lord decides who will come close to Him at what point of time. So we cannot estimate the Lord's planning. Because we may think, oh, this is not going to happen, that is not going to happen, how will this happen, how will that happen? Arey Baba, allow Krishna to work as per his plan. If he decides to bring someone close, who can stop? Se chale se kale Krishna spurabe tomare Krishna kripa jare tare ke rakhite pare. At that time, Lord Chaitanya says, when Krishna will inspire you from within and you will get the exact idea how to renounce. Krishna will show an opening of the door and window of opportunity. That time, you jump through and come to me. Se chale se kale. Krishna spurabe. Krishna will reveal. So don't think you can figure out every step of the plan. When the Lord wants to use you as an instrument in His mission, allow Him to play with you like a puppet. And He will decide how to use you and engage you. You can't figure out everything all at once. And therefore, Krishna kripa jare tare ke rakhite pare. And when Krishna decides that He will engage me, then yes, the time has come. And Krishna will ensure that He will engage. And nobody can stop such a person. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada established this Krishna consciousness movement mainly to demonstrate how each one of us will get an opportunity to serve Krishna as per our abilities. Krishna kripa jare tare ke rakhite pare. Krishna will decide how to engage you. Everybody is uniquely endowed. Whatever talent you have, that you offer to Krishna. You don't have to offer somebody else's talent. And Krishna will engage you accordingly. We had one brahmachari who did not know to sing kirtan at all. Every week in the program he would sing same tune, regular Hare Krishna dhun. After 4 years the congregation told him, can you please sing a new tune? If possible. Is it too much? He says, no, of course I can sing. He went to the temple and asked one devotee, train me with a new tune. This devotee taught him a new tune and he thought he had learnt it. That is what happens to devotees who don't know how to sing. Because in their mind, Indra Prabhu sings. But when they switch on the mic, someone else comes out. So he thought, he figured it out. And he goes to the program, sits on the Vyasasan, switches on the mic, same dhun. The congregation says, hey, you promised us, you will sing a new tune. What happened? He says, I sincerely tried, The guy taught me also. I thought I got it. Looked like I lost it. He went back and said, hey, you tell me some technique by which I will not forget. So this devotee said, there is only one way. I will start teaching you at 6 o'clock in the evening. Your program is at 7:30. From 6 o'clock till 7:30, non-stop you go on singing. Till you reach the program. Because as soon as you stop, you will forget it. So he said, that's a brilliant idea. So he continued singing all the way. Hanging in the train, he was singing. He reached the program. There he saw the altar, offered obeisances and said for a minute, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya. He got up, he forgot. He told the congregation, please excuse me. Singing is not here. Whatever I have, I will offer. Right? Raghunath Maharaj in his lectures makes sound of various animals. You have seen, you have heard in yatras and all. So I had a great curiosity to try that. We always like innovating. So I thought that in one of the program I should try it. But I was not getting opportunity. So I was doing a Janmashtami in a remote village in Maharashtra. Nobody was devotee, all new people. I thought this is a good arena to try. Because even if I fail, nobody will figure out. So there it was Gocharan Leela description. Krishna taking out the cows, and I thought, let me make sound of the cows. And I made a few sounds. After the lecture, one person came to me and said, which animal sound was that? I said, nonsense. It was Gocharan Leela. You can't figure out or what? What else it will be? गाय की तो आवाज थी. And he said, hey, बिल्कुल गाय जैसा नहीं लग रहा था. I said, बम्बई की गैया थी. So after that I also renounced. Never tried. So therefore Raghunath Das is so powerful, so influential, but Lord Chaitanya says, I don't want you to offer your influence and power and this and that. You wait patiently. And when the right opportunity comes, Krishna will reveal. At this point, Nityananda Prabhu comes to Panihati. And Raghunath Das goes to meet him. Nityananda Prabhu looks at Raghunath Das from a distance and he says, शुनि प्रभु कहे चोरा दुली दर्शन, आय आय आज तोमार करिमु दंडन. Nityananda Prabhu looks at him and says, here is the thief. The thief has come. Nityananda Prabhu tells Raghunath Das, thief has come. Why he says thief? He says, Baba, service, seva to the lotus feet of Chaitanya is my sampatti. Service to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet is my property. Nityananda is saying, you want to directly access that property, my property, without going through me? So you are a chore. So therefore, we cannot approach Lord Chaitanya without approaching Lord Nityananda. We cannot approach Krishna without approaching Guru, and we cannot approach Guru unless we engage in seva to Vaishnavas. So Nityananda Prabhu as the Guru engages Raghunath Das in serving the Vaishnavas and tells them, you serve chida dahi to all the devotees. Kautuki Nityananda sahaje dayamoy Raghunath kohe kichu hoya sadai. Nityananda Prabhu is naturally very jovial, and he says that please serve chida and dahi to my dear devotees. And the Acharyas explain, Nityananda Prabhu is demonstrating through Raghunath Das, who is the son of a multimillionaire, that to please the Lord, to get the access to service to the Lord, one does not require resources. One does not require skill. One only requires a desire. Nityananda Prabhu could have told Raghunath Das, I need millions and millions and millions of gold coins to serve. He says, no. Chida and dahi. Just bring chipped rice, which is very simple. And along with that, mix with dahi and serve the devotees. And he does this, and there is a great description given how he serves the devotees with chida and dahi of different types, mixing with condensed milk, mixing with yogurt, with mango and banana, and all of that mixed together. And after all the devotees are satisfied, and in fact they also see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifesting and honoring that along with all the devotees. So the bottom line is, to serve the Vaishnavas is a very simple process. All it requires is a desire. The means are not important, but you must mean to serve. There must be a genuine desire to serve, and that is more than enough. The means are only a detail. Adhama pamara moe jiva hina jivadhama mora ichha hoya paya Chaitanya charan. So Nityananda Prabhu looks at Raghunath Das after all this service is over, and he says, what is your desire? And he says, Mora ichha hoya paya Chaitanya charan. My desire is to attain the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. Tomar kripa vina keha Chaitanya na paye, Tomi kripa koile tare adhameha paye. My dear Lord, without your mercy, nobody can attain Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. O Nityananda, please give your grace. Ayogya moi nivedana korite kori bhai, More Chaitanya deha gosai hoya sadai. I know I am totally, utterly unqualified. ayogyamoi. But still, it is my duty to express prayer. Nivedan. Korite kori bhoy. And even afraid to express this because of how unqualified I am. But I may be unqualified, but I have confidence in your grace, in your mercy, O Nityananda. What confidence I have? You can give me the gift which I am aspiring for. More Chaitanya Deha Gosai Hoya Sadai. You can give me Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu if you desire. And then Raghunath Das falls at the feet of Nityananda Prabhu and claps Lord Nityananda's feet and places it upon his own head and prays. Mora mathe pada dhari karah prasad nirvighne chaitanya paya karah ashirvad. Please place your lotus-like feet upon my head and bless me that I attain Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet without any obstacles. Nirvighne Chaitanya Paya Karah Ashirvad. Give me that blessings, my dear Lord. When Nityananda Prabhu hears this, he laughs. And he looks at all his devotees and pointing to Raghunath Das, he gives an example to all the devotees. Shuniha se kahe Prabhu sab bhakta gane ihar vishaya sukha indra sukha same. Just look at this Raghunath Das. The access to Aishwarya and opulence he has is just like that of Indra. But Chaitanya kripate seha nahi bhai mane sabe ashirvad kore pauka Chaitanya charane. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya kripate seha nahi bhai mane. He has proximity to wealth, but he has no affinity for that wealth. Because proximity to some object does not automatically translate into affinity. The mind decides. And therefore, he was rolling in an ocean of wealth, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's grace had come upon him and taken away all of his taste for material opulence. And so Nityananda looks at all the devotees and says, Sabe Ashirvada Kara, all of you bless him that he attains Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. And then Nityananda Prabhu makes a very important philosophical point. Who is that person who can become detached from sense objects? Krishna Pada Padma Gandha Se Janapai Brahma Loka Adi Sukha Tare Nahi Bhai. One who has tasted and smelt the fragrance of the lotus feet of Krishna, he cannot get attracted to even opulence of Brahmaloka. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Charane Chintiya Pata Chadi Upapathe Jayana Dhaiya. And at that time Yadunandan Acharya comes to Raghunath Das and says, I want you to convince my priest who is wanting to go home, and if he leaves there is no one for worship, can you convince him to stay? Because he had great confidence in Raghunath Das's ability to convince people. So Raghunath Das goes with Yadunandan till a certain distance, and then he tells Yadunandan Acharya, you go to sleep, I'll take care of him. Yadunandan Acharya goes to sleep, and Raghunath Das finds that window of opportunity where the guards were not there, parents were not there, nobody else was there. As soon as he found that window of opportunity, he ran, and he knew he cannot run through the highway. He was running through the forest path. How? Sri Chaitanya Nityananda charane chintiya, thinking about the lotus feet of Gaur Nitai. Patha chadi upapathe jayena dhaiya. Leaving aside the main highway, he was running through the forests between Bengal and Orissa. Grame gramer patha chadi yae bane bane. Koi mane vakye chinte Chaitanya charane. Leaving aside the main villages, he was bypassing the villages, he was bypassing the highway, he was bypassing the route from which the travelers would go typically from Bengal to Puri. And he went through that circuitous, difficult forest terrain without sleeping, without eating, without drinking for 12 days. Bhakshana apeksha nahi samasta divas gaman. Kshudha nahi badhe Chaitanya charana prapti man. He had no idea about eating, no idea about sleeping. But he did not even feel like any of his bodily needs were required. Why? Chaitanya charana prapti man. When the mind is focused on the goal, one can rise above all kinds of physical and emotional needs. Distraction from the goal makes one distracted during the process of practice of Krishna consciousness. And absorption in the goal makes one absorbed in the practice. And at this point, Lord Chaitanya Raghunath Das reaches Jagannath Puri in 12 days and he eats only for 3 days. And Lord Chaitanya says, Prabhu kahe Krishna kripa bolishta sabha hoite, tomare kadila bishay vishtha garta hoite. And he says, the mercy of Krishna is stronger. The Lord has delivered you from the ditch of materialistic life, which is like a hole. Only Krishna's mercy can change your karmic reactions. And then finally, Raghunath Das is thinking, I do not know Krishna Kripa. I only know your mercy, my dear Lord. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu puts Raghunath Das under the care of Swarup Damodar and says, from now on you will be known as Swarupera Raghunath. And then gives him instructions for renunciants. And he gives various instructions. First instruction he says, to be in renounced order Raghunath, a renunciant has to be absorbed. Second, he has to be detached. Third, he has to be independent and not dependent on anybody. Fourth, he must be sense controlled. Fifth, he must be constantly chanting. Bairagi hoya kore jihvar lalas. Paramattayaya arahoera seravash. He must be sense control and he must be chanting. Bairagira kritya sada nama sankirtan. Shaka patra phala mule udara bharan. Sixth, he has to be very careful about distraction. And then seventh, he must not hear or speak prajalpa. Gramya katha na shunibe. Gramya varta na kahibe. Very important. So Gramya Katha means Prajalpa. And then he must control the tongue and dress very simply. So Bhalana Poribe. Bhalana Poribe means dress simply. What does it mean? A renunciant must not engage in activities which will draw attention to oneself. His activities, his talents, his skill, his speech, his singing, his service should all be to bring people's attention to Krishna, not to the self. That's the meaning of Bhala na Paribe. And so, the renunciant must also have humility, respect, chant and remember. Amani manad hoya Krishna nama sada labe, Braje Radha Krishna seva manase koribe. In this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving instructions to Raghunath Das. And then he used to call Lord Chaitanya to his home initially for food, for prasadam. And then finally he stopped calling, and Lord Chaitanya asked why he stopped calling, and then they said he himself is going and taking the remnants of the food eaten by the cows, Tailanga cows. And he was an embodiment of great renunciation and self-control. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very much pleased with Raghunath Das. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood that very soon he is going to depart or end his pastimes. So from 1518 to 1534, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Puri, Raghunath Das was also with him. Prabhu kahe ei shila Krishnera vigraha, ihara seva kara tumi koriya agraha. Giving him the Govardhan Shila, he said, please worship this Shila. Shila diya Gosai, Samarpila Govardhane, Gunjamala diya dila Radhika Charane. So two gifts Lord Chaitanya gave Raghunath Das, Govardhan Shila and Gunjamala. That Gunjamala represent Srimati Radharani's mercy. Ananta guna Raghunatera ki koribe lekha, Raghunatera niyama jena pashanera rekha. Raghunath Das was determined to follow the strictness of renunciation. It was like lines in a rock. Vairagyera katha tara adbhuta kathan, ajanma nadila jihvaya rasira sparshan. All his life he never allowed his tongue any pleasure. And he was completely in the mood of renunciation. And as soon as Lord Chaitanya departed, Raghunath Das was overwhelmed with sorrow, and he came to Vrindavan only with one intention, to go on top of Govardhan, jump from Govardhan and end his life. Rup and Sanatan controlled him and said, this is not the way. If you are feeling separation from Lord Chaitanya, speak about him. And on the bank of Radha Kund, every day, Raghunath Das would spend several hours speaking about Lord Chaitanya's pastime, because he was the only one who was witness to those pastimes. And so it is described, Chaitanya lila ratnasar swarupera bhandar, teho thoila Raghuna tera kanthe, taha ke chuje shunilo taha iha bistarilo, bhakta gana dilu ei bhete. Kaviraj Goswami says, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are like a storehouse of jewels. Those jewels were placed in Swarupera Bhandar, in the minefield of Swarup Damodar Goswami. And from Swarup Damodar Goswami, those jewels were placed in Raghunath Das's kantha, throat. And when Srila Raghunath Das Goswami would speak on the bank of Radhakund every single day, in the audience was Kaviraj Goswami. And he says, Taha ki chuje shunilu, whatever I heard, taha iha bistarilu, that's only I am expanding. Bhakta gana dilu ei bhete, and I am offering this as a gift to the devotee community. And Raghunath Das was so renounced that even in hot summer he would be sitting and chanting every day. He had taken vow to do 1000 plus dandavats. And as he was perspiring, suddenly one beautiful lady came with a cloth and she was covering Raghunath Das, and he was completely absorbed, not knowing this lady is holding a cloth over his head to shade him from the sun. Sanatan Goswami looked from a distance and came to Raghunath Das and said, "Hey, you are engaging Srimati Radharani in your service. So better make your own bhajan kutir." And another time, Raghunath Das was sitting there and a tiger was going to attack. Krishna came with a stick. And Krishna stood there as a security guard. And finally, Sanatan Goswami said, "Arey, you are engaging both Krishna and Radharani in your service. Your renunciation is costing too much." And that is how the whole concept of Bhajan Kutir started. After that. And then he was the Mahant of the whole Govardhan Radhakund area. And as they were excavating Radhakund and Shamkund, they hit upon the tongue of Govardhan Giriraj. And therefore, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami wrote only books like Mukta Charita and Vilap Kusumanjali. Very few books he wrote, but one of his most important contribution was Manah Shiksha. So there is this famous debate between, the Dhyan Chandra Goswami's literature and what Raghunath Das Goswami has written. But for the Gaudiyas, who are followers of Srila Saraswati Thakur, we follow the Manah Shiksha of Raghunath Das Goswami to purify the mind. When the mind is purified and qualified, then we can enter into the higher understanding. So therefore, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, he spent his entire life there, and his samadhi is still there at Radhakund only. And just in that period, around 1568. And so, as described, Srila Raghunath Das is one of the most powerful acharyas who assisted Srila Rupa and Sanatan Goswami in embodying the emblem of Prayojan. He is known as the Prayojan Acharya. He is known as the Prayojan Acharya. And so his presence was a most important, powerful support to the other Goswamis. So between 1541 and 1554 was the only period when all the six were together. 1554 is when Sanatan Goswami departed. 1541 is when Jiva Goswami came to Vrindavan after having studied Sanskrit and everything in Varanasi. So that was the period when all of them were together, but the legacy continued and each one was engaged in a particular aspect of bhakti as demonstrated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore, Raghunath Das Goswami embodies the principle of renunciation, absorption, and he is our Prayojan Acharya. Jai Srila Raghunath Das Goswami ki, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki. So we will now sing the Okay. So we will continue tomorrow with morning 10 o'clock. The last of the Goswami's description will be on Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Again, as I described, the maximum amount of description is about Srila Sanatan Goswami. Next is on Rupa Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami is Antilila chapter 6. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami is also one part of the chapter in Antilila. There is hardly any mention of Gopal Bhatta Goswami and hardly any mention of Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami was always contemporary in that period. But the maximum development of Vrindavan, the way we see it, happened only during this period of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami and Srila Jiva Goswami. And what is the connection of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami with the development of Vrindavan is something which we will discuss tomorrow. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Shad Goswami Pad kai, Tai Gaur Premanande, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So with this, today's session is come to an end. So let's express our gratitude and thank His Grace Gauranga Prabhu for teaching us from the life of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami by loudly chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! So we'll meet sharply tomorrow at 9:45 a.m. Hare Krishna.